Welcome to an all new episode of BS. Hope everyone's having a good day today. So, let's get into the news and topics. Before we get started, I have to mention a couple of things. My recording situation. Why did I not record on Wednesday? There's a lot of stuff going on right now. My life is kind of chaotic at the moment. And also the software didn't work, the recording software as usual. I've been told that people are getting tired of me apologizing for everything, and this is a sports podcast, not an apologetic podcast. So for now on, if I miss an episode, I'm gonna add. This is basically 2 episodes into one. Just letting you guys know that right now. So this is gonna be an extra long episode 2. Anytime something happens, I'm going to apologize in the comments and in the description below. So you guys can check out for the apology in the description below. But I apologize for anything I do going forward. And all my apologies that I do will be in the description below and in the comments if I do something wrong, like not posting on Wednesday. I'm definitely going to try to have this not happen moving forward. I might be... I'm not going to be like having a different background. This might be the background for quite a while. But, things are going to be changing up. Once again, I'm sorry for not posting on Wednesday. I know that's a big deal. But this episode's basically 2 episodes into one. So I'm going to also have breaking ranking at the end, and I'm having what if. This is going to be a really long episode, and stay tuned and watch. This is going to be extremely long. Okay, topic number 1. Let's get into the first topic. The NFL Draft starts April 23rd. I will be doing a live reaction if I can make it work, because knowing my software, I don't know how this is going to work. I'm not going to be having a microphone. I'm just going to be showing my reaction to each draft decision and situation. You'll be watching me live, and if I can make it live. If not, I'm just going to record my reaction and post it onto the channel. Stay tuned for that. They're apparently doing a virtual draft. I don't know how that's going to work. Apparently, they're going to have it's going to be like animated. It's going to be like Madden. It's kind of going to be like Madden. You're going to be seeing like a Madden draft, apparently. I don't really get how it works. But we're going to find out on Thursday, April 23rd. Also, I am doing a mock draft next week. It's either going to be Monday or Wednesday. Probably Monday. Yeah, either Monday or Wednesday. And I am only doing a mock draft, but only for the first round. All right, only for the first round. I'm only doing the first round mock draft. All right, I'm not doing any of the other rounds. It's just a whole lot of players. I really am focused on, I'm going to get the best quality content for the first round only and what I think might happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to have trades involved. I'm not sure. It's just my personal opinion on what's going to happen with the mock draft for Thursday. So, yeah, stay tuned for either Monday or Wednesday for the mock draft. It's going to be a whole dedicated episode probably to the mock draft. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that yet. So, stay tuned for that. Alrighty. Okay, we're already moving on. By the way, we're going to be having 4 topics and 4 news breakdowns. So, yep. All right. Moving on. Cam Newton should not, I repeat, should not be a starter anymore. And he most certainly should not be going to the Jags, let me tell you. He should not be going to the Jags. I don't know what that was about. I've read that. I read Leonard Fournette's statement, which, if you don't know, that's the starting running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a pretty good year last year, not going to lie. I was always a big fan of him, and he had a pretty good year. He should not be a starter anymore. Let's get to that first. First off, he should not be a starter anymore. His injury problems are, insane. His attitude problems, his leadership, and he's older. He's pretty old now. Not that old, but I mean, he's old enough to not be starting over Gardner Minshew. Let me tell you, I love that kid, Gardner Minshew. Ooh, that kid has so much potential. But I do not believe Nick Foles was better than Gardner Minshew. He was just given a bad situation down in Jacksonville, and I'm a big fan of Jacksonville. That's my 3rd favorite team, telling you that right now. I hope to God the Jacksonville Jaguars just stick to Gardner Minshew, please. I don't know what Leonard Fournette's saying here. He wants he wants Cam Newton. I mean, Cam Newton never won a Super Bowl. He only won MVP. And he's a shell of his former self, even though I was never a big fan of him. Cam Newton should not be a starter. I don't even know if he's good as a backup, because if you just lay one finger on him, he's got to go. But I mean, he's overrated right now. I don't know. He should not be a starter. Even his quickness and his swiftness, like he used to do, it's just not the same anymore. He's not even I mean, people just keep talking about the past. We're talking about the present, all right? If we're gonna keep talking about the past, then why don't we talk about? If we're talking about the past, why not pick up Eli Manning? He won you 2 Super Bowls, am I right? You know what I mean? Like, people keep talking about his former MVP. Why don't we pick up Matt Schaub? I mean, hey, he almost won MVP one year. I mean, why not pick up Matt Shuckins, right? Pick him up. Here's the problem. People keep talking about Cam Newton's past. He's like, he's a former MVP. He's a former this. He threw for a ton of touchdowns. He's super fast. He can get out of critical situations. He's clutch. First off, he's further from clutch. He is not clutch. Maybe high motor, not clutch. He is not clutch at all. I don't know what people are talking about. And do me a quick favor. Look up Cam Newton's win scores. Are people looking up his past couple years, what his record's been? Like the past, I don't know. Ever since his Super Bowl run. What has his record been? What has his record been in the regular season? What's his win to lose record? All right, 2016, the year after he made it to the Super Bowl and won the MVP. This man threw for 19 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, and starting, he went 6-8. Overall, his team went 7-9. He got injured. Okay, that's really great. And this next year, oh boy, 2017. 2017, he had a pretty good year, 11-5, but he dragged his team down. 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. I saw the film. I remember him being in that season. God, dragged his team down. Luckily, his defense was okay, respectful, to say the least. And people are saying, oh, he had Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a really good coach, all right? Cam Newton dragged him down, and Cam Newton got him fired. And people are saying also Kyle Allen got him fired. No. Kyle Allen was his first year, all right? Give the kid a chance. But that's a whole other topic. I mean, Kyle Allen was a much better option than Cam Newton. I feel like if Cam Newton was starting this year, he would have thrown 18 touchdowns and 18 interceptions. Man, Cam Newton's a shell of his former self. His attitude problem is insanely bad. I mean, someone needs to, put him into check. I mean, I don't even know if he's a good backup quarterback. I'm glad no one's picking him up. I mean, I'm not glad. I don't wish upon negatively towards anyone, but he's just not a good starter right now. I don't think it'd be a quality backup because he'd probably get injured the minute someone lays a finger on him. And he should definitely not be going to the Jaguars. You know how messed up that locker room would be if they pick up Cam Newton? Except Leonard Fournette, who don't get why he wants Cam Newton exactly. I get his reasoning. I see his reasoning right here. Still not an excuse. I mean, it was just a weird statement to say. And if they end up picking him up, that would be horrible. I really hope not. It seems like also, I mean, I think they're all in on Gardner Minshew. Build now, win a Super Bowl now, and get the job done. Do not pick up Cam Newton. The minute you pick up Cam Newton, say goodbye to Gardner Minshew. I mean, he's younger. He's 10 times the better quarterback of Cam Newton. I mean, Gardner Minshew is top 15. He would have won Rookie of the Year last year if it wasn't for them benching Nick Foles, which I understand. My boy Nick Foles, I love him to death. I do. He's the one that brought the Super Bowl trophy home to Philadelphia, but I understand because Nick Foles is older. Gardner Minshew is younger. He's you have more developmental time for Gardner Minshew. He has more time to develop. And yeah, I mean, Gardner Minshew, he's gonna be trouble for the NFL the years to come. I mean, I really hope the Jaguars aren't stupid enough to let him go. I mean, they let go good quarterbacks. I mean, oh man, Gardner Minshew should be the future starter of the franchise. Cam Newton should be the future starter of no franchise. No teams out of all the 32 teams, I would be okay with him going to the Bengals. Other than that, he should not be starting any team in the NFL. His career as a starter should be over. I don't mean to be aggressive to him, but I do not like him. And I'm flat out saying it. I'm not a Cam Newton fan. If you're a Cam Newton fan, that's okay. I'm not, me personally. I've never been. But I feel like his time is done. I don't mean to be a hater, but just if you lay a finger on him, he'll go down. I'll shake his hand and break his wrist. All right. I think that's a little harsh, but that's how I feel in that situation. Moving on. All right. Speaking of young quarterbacks, another great quarterback last year, I know he didn't play that much, was Drew Lock for the Denver Broncos. And man, did that kid surprise me, let me tell you. I did not see him being a good starter at all. I saw his one preseason game, and I know I shouldn't be going over preseason because I feel like preseason is harder for backups sometimes because you don't have good receivers and you don't have a good offensive line and a bunch of other different situations. But Drew Lock, man, people are saying Kyler Murray's going to have a jump out year. I feel like Drew Lock will be the one we're talking about next year. Let me tell you, I feel like Drew Lock is going to have the breakout year that Patrick Mahomes did, and I mean, I feel like Drew Lock will have a breakout year like Patrick Mahomes did. Like he had that 1 year gap. Lamar Jackson had that 1 year gap, and the funny thing is they played both. Drew Lock and Lamar Jackson played really similar in their first year. Came in later in the year, played great. I feel like Drew Lock, I'm not saying he's going to win MVP, but I mean, I feel like he's going to be the one that we're talking about next year instead of Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray is going to be a beast next year, let me tell you, but I feel like Drew Lock is going to be the one that we're talking about next year, let me tell you. Drew Lock is going to have a big breakout year next year. I have a really gut feeling about it. I feel like he's going to bring them to the playoffs in the first time since Peyton Manning was around. That would be exciting because I feel so bad for Broncos fans. Broncos fans, Drew Lock is the answer for your team. Let me tell you, this kid is so impressive. I am so impressed by this kid. He's going to have a breakout year next year. I know everyone's talking about Kyler Murray, but your quarterback, Drew Lock, he's going to have one breakout year next year, and I can't wait to see it. I'm calling it right now. Calling it on Friday. Today is Friday, April 17th, 2020. I am saying it right now. Drew Lock will be having a breakout year next year. I am calling it. Dude, this kid's amazing. Let me tell you, this kid is amazing. I mean, he for the situation he was dealt with last year, I feel like he has a couple things to improve on, and he's going to improve next year. I can see him. I feel like he can have the dedication. And I feel so sorry. I want to apologize to Drew Lock because I did not think he could be a great starter at all. I didn't even have him in my top 5 quarterbacks. Draft prospects from last draft. And this kid, man, he's in the top 4 rookie quarterbacks of last year. Right? Yeah, that's about right, I think. But Drew Lock, he's gonna have a breakout year next year. He might even win MVP. I'm calling that right now. He might even win MVP. Just saying it. And I feel like he's gonna have a big breakout year. It's always the person you least expect. So no one expected Patrick Mahomes to throw 50. Lamar Jackson no one expected him to win MVP. Everybody thought he was a bust and should have been a wide receiver. And I believed in him too. Last year, I believed that I didn't think he was going to win MVP, but when I get to my review of last season and what actually happened, like I had predictions, I was pretty close on a couple of things, but I was dead wrong about the Bills, let me tell you. But, man, I always have these gut feelings like these underrated players are going to have a breakout year. I always have that gut feeling, and I have that gut feeling right now. I mean, I have that gut feeling again that the Broncos are going to come back strong next year, 10-6. Drew Lock possibly winning MVP. I mean, I'm not saying 10-6. I feel like they're going to make it to the playoffs next year. That's what I'm saying. I have a really good feeling about it. And Oh, Broncos fans, I heard the news today about Von Miller catching the coronavirus. That's horrible. Um, Hopefully he recovers, Broncos fans, and his family. Hopefully he recovers. Hopefully he'll be doing okay. But Von Miller, hope you get better, and hope you feel better. I know this coronavirus is crazy for everyone, and I've seen firsthand what it can do to people, and it's horrible. Von Miller, I hope you feel better. Hope you recover and stay safe, brother. All right. I just want to say that real quick. Okay. Next topic, fourth topic, first time ever. Okay, the fourth topic. So speaking of, we were talking about quarterbacks a lot. Actually, we're talking about Cam Newton, Andrew Luck. Our next topic is all the NFL teams. These are all the NFL teams that need to get a QB for their future, which includes drafting a QB this year or next year, or getting QB in free agency. These teams need a franchise quarterback. And this isn't a breaking ranking. This is just breaking down the teams that need it. I mean, I'm not ranking them in no particular order. So these teams need a future franchise quarterback. These teams. This could be in no particular order, so that's why it's on the breaking ranking. I'm going to break down why these teams need a quarterback. It could be like a developmental quarterback. It could be a starting quarterback for right now. It can be a bridge quarterback, whatever. These teams need a quarterback, a franchise quarterback for the future. And some of these will be obvious, and some of them will be quite surprising to people. So I'm going to name all the teams right now, starting with number one. And it's going to be, I'm going to name all the teams and then explain why. So we got Bengals, we got Cowboys, we got Vikings, we got the Dolphins, the Bears, Lions, Bucks, Falcons, Saints, Colts. So that's 10 teams. I think I said that right. So some of them were surprising, some of them were quite obvious. But okay, starting with the first one, once again, it's in no particular order. We're going to be talking about the Bengals. Why do the Bengals need a franchise quarterback? This one's quite obvious. Andy Dalton was just there. They moved on. Ryan Finley was never the answer. Never believed he was the answer. He was just an Andy Dalton clone gone wrong. I know everyone's saying Joe Burrow. Oh, God. If Joe Burrow goes to the Bengals, I'm going to feel so bad for him because it sounds like he doesn't want to do the Eli Manning move, which he could do, and I'm rooting for him to do that because they're just going to waste his talent there. And I know, I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I mean, you need some big management changes. The coach you hired wasn't great. Your team needs like 15 years of surgery to ever be good, and you're just going to be wasting 15 years of Joe Burrow's career, who can possibly be a Hall of Famer. Joe Burrow is a lot like Drew Brees. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about that later. But Bengals need a quarterback, and they need to get it this year immediately. They need to draft a quarterback. They need to start from ground zero. It's either they draft a quarterback or pick up Cam Newton from free agency. Those are the only two things I see happening, and out of those two things, I believe they should draft a quarterback, and I hope it's not Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, because those are my favorites. I feel like Tua Tagovailoa, sorry, I didn't say his name right. I feel like he should be the pick for the Bengals because I feel like he's going to be the bust of next year. I'll explain that in another video, or probably before the NFL draft, and I know a lot of people are a big fan of Tua, but I feel like the Bengals should draft Tua and not draft Joe Burrow. I hope not, but they probably will. They are probably going to do that because they're the Bengals, you know. I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I always root for your team every year. I hope that they do good, at least for once. I mean, Bengals. I hope they don't draft Joe Burrow. I know a lot of Bengals fans want that. Me personally, I hope they don't. I hope he doesn't go to the Bengals. Hope they don't draft him. But sorry, going on another rant. They need to draft a quarterback this year, or they pick up Cam Newton from free agency, which I also could see them doing that too because they're pretty dumb. If I'm being honest, I hope they don't do that either because Cam Newton is not a quality starter. But I could see them doing that. I could see them picking up Cam Newton. I mean, so yeah. Maybe they won't. Maybe they make the smart decision and not pick up Cam Newton. But if they pick up Cam Newton, they're making a dumb decision. And I feel bad for Bengals fans because they always seem kind of nice. I just feel bad for their organization or for their team sucking a lot. And they had Andy Dalton for the longest time, and they had Marvin Lewis for the longest time. So yeah. All right, moving on. Next team that should be working on getting a quarterback is the Dallas Cowboys. Now, this one is going to make some Dak Prescott fans angry. Dak Prescott is not the answer. He is not the answer. He will make their team doomed. They will not win a Super Bowl with him. I hope maybe they make him eat my words. Maybe he'll make me eat my words for saying that. I do not see that happening. I do not see him re-signing with the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe he will. If they do, that's going to be the biggest mistake. And that's going to dig them a hole for next year. Dak Prescott, no. I feel like there should be a new quarterback for the new new Cowboys coach, Mike McCarthy. I feel like Dak Prescott, what he's doing right now, is already an indicator that they should move on from him. And I feel like they can afford getting a quarterback in the draft. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are not the type of organization that should be picking up quarterbacks in free agency. Maybe next year they could pick up a quarterback in free agency. I honestly thought Tom Brady was going to go to the Dallas Cowboys, but my second option was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I was still shocked that he didn't go back to the Patriots. But I thought Tom Brady was going to go to the Dallas Cowboys. I kind of saw that happening, but he didn't. So, and they franchise tagged Dak Prescott. He doesn't look invested in that organization. Maybe he just wants a payday of insane amounts that he does not deserve. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not even Carson Wentz. He's not even the top 20. Yeah, not even the top 20. He's definitely better than Cam Newton. I think almost all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL are better than Cam Newton. But yeah. They need a quarterback that they could develop. I feel like that might be a good option too. Maybe they can get a veteran quarterback in free agency next year and then draft a quarterback next year and evolve them over time. I feel like the perfect quarterback for them probably be Justin Herbert. I feel like that would be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys because they need to move on from Dak Prescott. It seems like everyone needs a divorce. Dak needs a divorce from the Cowboys. And yeah, that's where I feel like that should be going. Dallas Cowboys moves on from Dak Prescott, and they draft a quarterback next year, and they also get a quarterback next year from free agency, a veteran quarterback, and they develop the quarterback that they draft. So that's what I feel like the Dallas Cowboys should do, if they're smart. But knowing Jerry Jones, very unpredictable. All right. Okay, the next team that should get a franchise quarterback is the Minnesota Vikings. You're probably wondering they got Kirk Cousins. I know they re-signed him. I get it. Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I know a lot of people don't like him, especially Vikings fans. I was always a fan of him, even with the Vikings. I mean, he's been pretty good. I don't know what people were talking about last year. I don't know why they were saying he was the reason why they were holding him back. He did pretty good last year. And he did pretty good in 2018, and he did pretty good in 2019. I don't know what anybody was talking about. I did not see what everyone else saw. I guess maybe I'm blind, but I feel like Kirk Cousins has become the Alex Smith of the Chiefs. I feel like Kirk Cousins. What the Chiefs did was Alex Smith was basically a bridge quarterback after a while. After he couldn't get the job done Well, he did get the job done. He did get the job done, but he wasn't good enough to win them a Super Bowl at the caliber that they wanted. Obviously, they made the good choice. They made the good choice by drafting Patrick Mahomes, who's probably going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. That's pretty a big statement, but most gifted quarterback of all time. There you go. Patrick Mahomes is the most gifted quarterback of all time. But obviously, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins probably reached his ceiling unless they have a killer defense next year. Kirk Cousins is going to become a bridge quarterback. He signed a 2-year extension, I know. Yeah, I know. But his time, I don't want to say it's up, but it's time to have a bridge quarterback. It's time to draft a quarterback. I'm going to say next year. Next year, the Vikings should draft a quarterback and have him be behind Kirk Cousins for a while. I mean, have him learn, and then eventually, when the time comes, to move on from Kirk Cousins. He's also Kirk Cousins. He ain't that young. He's not he's not super young. I mean, he's 31. You know, he's gonna turn 32 in August. That's the time where you start getting the bridge quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, get a quarterback behind Kirk to develop and eventually become the future franchise starting quarterback of that franchise. So, that's my opinion on that. Vikings should draft a quarterback next year, have him sit behind Kirk Cousins, and that quarterback should be the future starting quarterback of that franchise. Okay. Moving on, Dolphins, another obvious one. The Dolphins should draft a quarterback this year, and they should trade whatever they got, whatever it takes to get Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow will be an amazing pick. Dude, I really hope they do this. I mean, I could really see this happening. At the same time, I kind of don't. I mean, I feel like that was going to be the original pick, but now I'm not really sure. I don't think the Bengals will give up. Whatever. I'm going to have to do more investigation for when I do my mock draft. But, the Dolphins need a franchise quarterback. I feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick, they're not ready to win right now. They shouldn't be ready to win right now. I feel like the Dolphins should have at least another 2 more years, and then they could be like a playoff contender. But, so that's my honest opinion. They should draft a quarterback next year if they can't get Joe Burrow. If they can't get Joe Burrow, then draft a quarterback next year. They should not pick up Tua. I feel like Justin Herbert will be gone by the time. Well, no, Justin Herbert will still be on the board. I just don't know if that would be a perfect fit for the Dolphins. I mean, I feel like Justin Herbert should go to the Los Angeles Chargers. I feel like that would be a good pick for Justin Herbert. But that's the deal with the Dolphins. They should draft a quarterback either this year or next year. And that's what I gotta say about that. They need a franchise starting quarterback, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, I feel, has another 2 years left. So get a quarterback in that 2-year time span. Moving on to the next team. The next team is the Chicago Bears, and they need a quarterback. Nick Foles is going to be a good bridge quarterback. Possibly could win them a Super Bowl. Let me tell you, I feel like Nick Foles could be like a Ryan Tannehill next year. But Nick Foles he could be a good starter. He can bring your team to the promised land and could win you a Super Bowl. I mean, he's clutch when he needs to be. And I feel like Nick Foles could be a good mentor to a quarterback that the Bears decide to draft. And I feel like they should draft a quarterback this year. Actually, to be honest with you, you probably guys don't know who he is, but right now the Ravens have a third-string quarterback. Yeah, a third-string quarterback named Trace McSorley. You'll hear him later on in the video. Trace McSorley was a great quarterback that came out of Penn State. my second favorite team, college team, and this guy is a stud. He's amazing. Trace McSorley. Remember that name. I feel like he has the potential to be a future starting quarterback. And I don't know if the Bears will draft a quarterback this year, but they should draft next year. But if they somehow trade for Trace McSorley, who's a third-string quarterback on the Ravens, dude, if you look at his film, he has so much potential. Like, seriously. Trace McSorley, I think I'm sorry if I'm stuttering when I'm saying that. This kid can run. This kid, he's like Mitchell Trubisky, but 10 times better. I mean, I feel like this kid has so much potential, and I feel like if they trade for him, they probably don't even know who this kid is. If they get him and I'm telling you, Bears organization, trade for Trace McSorley. He's the third-string quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. Trade for him. Have him back up Nick Foles. Have him learn from Nick Foles, mentor him, get his quarterback mechanics a lot better, and then eventually he could be the starting quarterback of your franchise. Trace McSorley, I thought he was going to go into the XFL, ended up not going. Yeah, but Trace McSorley, he has the potential to be a starting quarterback. I feel like he could be a perfect fit for the Chicago Bears. And they just need to move on from Mitchell Trubisky. I'm done. Swipe him off my sleeve. Oh, my bad. I'm swiping him off my sleeve. I'm done. I'm done with Mitchell Trubisky. I really hope they don't have him start next year over Nick Foles. But if the Bears are smart, they will do that. But Nick Foles will be hopefully is the starting quarterback next year. But they do need a quarterback majorly after Nick Foles is done. I mean, I love Nick Foles, but he's not going to last another 10 years. They need a franchise starting quarterback. And I think the Bears organization knows that. And Nick Foles is a good 3-year bridge to the next quarterback. And I feel like the next quarterback could be Trace McSorley if they trade for him. If they trade for him at the Ravens, he's a good developmental quarterback in my opinion until Nick Foles is ready to move on or retire. So, yeah, that's my personal pick. But if they decide not to do that because he's very underrated, draft a quarterback next year. Hopefully, there's a good quarterback that they can get next year. And yeah, maybe they get Trevor Lawrence next year. I could see that happening and have him back up Nick Foles until he's ready to start. When Mitchell Trubisky is done, I'm done. He's not the starter. Get him out. Get him out of the Bears organization. Bears fans are done. I'm done. We're all tired of watching him. It's cringe. It's like epic cringe when I watched Mitchell Trubisky. It's not a good feeling at all. I am done with Mitchell Trubisky. They need a starter quarterback, in my opinion. I feel like they should trade for Trace McSorley, third-string quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. He's young enough. He was a rookie last year. And, yeah, time to move on from Mitch and draft a quarterback next year or trade for Trace. Okay, the next team that needs a franchise quarterback is the Lions. I love Matthew Stafford, but he's been more like Matthew Statsworth lately. I mean, he just puts up a bunch of stats, but I mean, he's been dragged down by a horrible organization as well. But it seems like they're trying to get better. They have Matt Patricia. It seems like they're trying to get better every year. I feel like they're going in a good direction. I believe in the coach. I think some of the players believe in the coach, and if they don't, then they leave. But I don't know. They're coming out. They're coming out of nowhere. I mean, if Matthew Stafford stays healthy next year, they could go to the playoffs as well. I could see it happening, you know. But Matthew Stafford isn't getting any younger. Actually, I feel like they should draft a quarterback in the next 2 years for this one, or get a quarterback from free agency. Yeah, I mean, I think I want to say Matthew Stafford is getting older, but I don't know how much longer he has. He's getting injured a lot. It seems like he's having trouble staying healthy. But next year will be the year if to tell if he needs to if they need to move on from him or not. If he gets injured next year, hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he stays healthy for the whole year. Me personally, I feel like he could. I feel like he is. But they need. I feel like they need a 3-year developmental quarterback behind Matthew Stafford until Matthew Stafford is ready to move on. You know what I mean? They need a quarterback with a really good arm. They need like a Matthew Stafford clone, and whenever they find that guy, draft him. You know what I mean? So, or maybe they could get another XFL standout, Tyree Jackson. Yeah, Tyree Jackson, another standout from the XFL. He has a killer arm. I was rooting for him in the NFL draft last year. They could go with him. He replaced Cardell Jones week 5 of the XFL season. So, I mean, they could replace him with that guy, Tyree Jackson, in my opinion. But I feel like the Lions organization will not do that because he's too risky of an option. Maybe they'll have him as a backup. You never know. But, I mean, Tyree Jackson is like Matthew Stafford but can run a lot better. Look at his film. Look up his highlights. Tyree Jackson, I mean, he has a killer arm. He's really tall, too. I mean, I was a big fan of Tyree Jackson. And, sorry, I'm going on a Tyree Jackson display. But, Tyree Jackson rant. But, yeah. So, that's what I got to say about that. The Lions need a franchise starting quarterback, and they should get it in the next 2 years. Okay, another team that needs a franchise starting quarterback is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I know they got Tom Brady, and they moved on from Jameis Winston. Thank God. I was never a fan of him either. I know they got Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's he's old. He's old. He's not going to be in the NFL for 10 years. They need a franchise quarterback to develop. Maybe they could get a quarterback in the 3rd round this year. I feel like they should draft a quarterback this year to back up to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has great success with backups, whoever's backing up. You know what I mean? Except Brian Hoyer. Well, I mean, he did start a little bit, Brian Hoyer. But, Tom Brady has his backups have had a great deal of success in the NFL. They should draft a quarterback while Tom Brady is still with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's my personal opinion. Maybe I believe they should draft a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they need a franchise starting quarterback for the future once Tom Brady decides to move on from the Bucs. Oh, wow, another NFC South team. The Atlanta Falcons, another team that needs a future starting franchise quarterback. I love Matt Ryan. I feel like he should have won MVP a couple years back as well, but then you had Patrick Mahomes and stuff. So Matt Ryan, he's getting older. He's declining a little bit. I mean, I feel like Dan Quinn is a good quarterback. Dan Quinn. Sorry, I'm spacing out. Dan Quinn is a good head coach. I feel like he should be the head coach for like the years to come. Dan Quinn. And I feel like it's time for them to move on from Matt Ryan. I feel like they should draft a quarterback next year and have a 3-year developmental quarterback stasis, because I feel like Matt Ryan's good for another 3 years, and then he's just gonna decline further and further. I feel like draft a quarterback next year, not this year, next year, unless Matt Ryan throws 40 touchdowns. But if he doesn't, then draft a quarterback next year. Okay, another NFC South team. Wait, is this the whole NFC South? Oh no, we don't have the Panthers on here. Okay, the next team is the Saints. They really need a future franchise quarterback. Drew Brees isn't getting any younger. Taysom Hill is not the answer. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater was the answer, but who wants to listen to a 17-year-old kid? You know what I mean? Um, I felt like they could have gotten Philip Walker from the XFL. They didn't get that either. I doubt this is gonna happen, but I say draft almost everyone that you can except Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Draft as much as you can. Trade away as much as you can to get Joe Burrow. Trade everyone that you can besides Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara to try to get Joe Burrow. I doubt the Bengals are willing to trade their first overall pick with anybody. I'm going to be reacting that day, and I'm going to be crossing my fingers that the Bengals do trade their first overall pick to somebody, and I hope that could be the Saints as well. Saints or Dolphins. Joe Burrow is Drew Brees' clone. Seriously, this kid has incredible accuracy. His college run last year was the best I've ever seen. I think the best we will ever see. I don't think he has Patrick Mahomes type of arm. I know a lot of people are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he is as talented as Patrick Mahomes, but he's pretty damn accurate. He reminds me a lot of Drew Brees, like a younger version of Drew Brees. Like, seriously, except with the shoulder injury. But yeah, Joe Burrow is a really great quarterback, and I feel like the Saints should trade for him this year, and they should get him as their franchise quarterback of the future. Hopefully that will happen. That's what I think should happen. That's the only thing I could see happening at this point. I've been wrong about everything. I really hope it's not Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is not the answer. Please do not make Taysom Hill the franchise quarterback of the future. Me personally, I felt like it should have been Teddy Bridgewater when he was still with the Saints. They should have re-signed him to a longer deal, but didn't happen that way. Don't know why. I guess we'll never know. But yeah, Saints should draft a quarterback this year to be the heir of Drew Brees. And our final team that needs a franchise starting quarterback is the Indianapolis Colts. It looks like they don't want Jacoby Brissett to be the answer for their franchise, and Philip Rivers he's pretty old, declining every year. It's been declining for the past couple years now. Philip Rivers will not bring them to the Super Bowl. I don't know why they picked him up. Maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see it happening. He's declined basically every year. They need a quarterback for the future. They need to draft one. I say next year. I feel like they're going to draft one next year. I could see that happening. I feel like they could pick up a quarterback in free agency next year as well. I feel like there's going to be a couple good quarterbacks next year that they could pick up. And Philip Rivers isn't the answer. And Jacoby Brissett, they don't look like they believe in him that much. Me personally, I feel like he could win you a Super Bowl, but I feel like he's a good bridge quarterback. That's all the teams that need a franchise quarterback for the future. Okay, moving on to the news. Wow, that was a long topic. I'm worn out from that. Moving on to the news. Okay, this is not a popular news topic. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Dante Pettis, so I'm going to talk about him. All right. News number one: Dante Pettis might be moving on from the San Francisco 49ers. I believe the 49ers should still give him a chance, and he could be a future star for the NFL. Dante Pettis, he broke out immensely in 2018. He had great stats. I know stats isn't everything. He was targeted quite a bit in 2018, and I know it was his rookie year, and I believed in him ever since that rookie year. He had a 60% catch percent. This kid, I feel like he still has potential to be a future starting wide receiver. He was targeted 45 times in 2018. Now last year, I don't know what happened last year. I thought he was gonna have a breakout year like everyone else did. I feel like we would be talking about him as like a future NFL wide receiver star, but instead we talked about Cortland Sutton from the Denver Broncos instead. Sorry, I'm going on another topic. He got targeted only 24 times, and I saw in the film last year he was wide open. It wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo's cup of tea. It wasn't his favorite target to throw to. Don't know why. And then replaced him with Kendrick Bourne later on in the season. I mean, I feel like he is still a good deep threat, but I feel like at this point he could make a pretty good slot receiver. I still believe in Dante Pettis. I mean, they didn't target him much last season. Well, season also he didn't play as much either. I feel like he still has the potential to be a great wide receiver. Still give him a chance. 49ers, give him a chance. All right. I mean, I feel like he's like a quicker version of Michael Crabtree in a way. He has pretty good hands. Just last year, I just don't know what happened. Maybe the pressure got to his head. But, yeah, give him a chance, Dante Pettis. And if they don't, they end up not giving him a chance because it really sounds like Kyle Shanahan is offering up in trades. Maybe he'll trade him away for a draft pick. Who really knows? Whoever ends up getting him, me personally, I feel like the Eagles should get him. I am a big fan of Dante Pettis. I feel like he has the potential to be a great wide receiver in the future, and whoever gets him, congratulations to them. He will be a great starting wide receiver for your franchise. And yeah, I know it's not a popular topic right now, and I just have to say it. I love Dante Pettis. I mean, his film was meh, but I mean, he just has a lot of talent, and I really hope he can be a starting wide receiver of the future to an organization, and I hope it is the 49ers. But if it's not, it'll be another organization, and he'll do great. He will do great. All right, that's what I have to say about Dante Pettis. And 49ers fans, if he does end up staying with the 49ers, give him a chance. I mean, I feel like the future 49ers wide receiving core could be Deebo Samuel and Dante Pettis. They could be a great wide receiver duo. They could be like the Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen of their time, of the new time. And yeah, that's what I got to say about Dante Pettis possibly be leaving the 49ers. I hope he doesn't. But yeah. All right, news number 2. The Bears released Trey Burton. Oh, this broke my heart. Let me tell you, this broke my heart, man. And this man threw a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He was a part of the Philly special. I will never forget him. He was part of the most iconic Eagles play in Eagles history. Threw the touchdown to Nick Foles in a critical situation, 4th down. They needed the touchdown. He threw the touchdown perfectly to Nick Foles. The Philly special. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm getting goosebumps just remembering that day. Oh, man. What a great day. What a great game. Anyway, I always felt like Trey Burton could have the potential to be a good starting tight end, and I feel like an NFL team should still give him a chance. I know he got injured. He's been having some injury problems, but I feel like third time's the charm. I feel like he can get it done. I feel like he could be a starting tight end. I don't know why they downgraded him with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham is just not as good as he used to be. He was okay. I feel like the Packers should have never released him, but I feel like the Bears downgraded by picking up Jimmy Graham and released Trey Burton. I guess I understand, but if we're all honest, he had Mitchell Trubisky as his quarterback. I mean, Trey Burton has the speed. He has pretty good hands. I know he's been having injury problems, but I mean, maybe he'll have the chance to not be a starter, but be a second string tight end to a team. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of saddened. It broke my heart. I felt like we were gonna see another. Felt like we were gonna see another Philly special with now that Nick Foles is on the team on the Chicago Bears. So I was kind of happy about that. Kind of excited to see another a Bears special. That's what you could call it. But yeah, it broke my heart when he got released. Hopefully maybe he'll come back to the Eagles. Never know. Maybe he could be a third string tight end. I mean, I love Josh Perkins, but who's the current third string tight end of the Eagles. But I mean, I feel like Trey Burton would be a better option. I've always been a big fan of Trey Burton. I feel like he could still be a starting tight end, but if not, he could be a great second string tight end. And yeah, that's why I have to say it breaks my heart because he was part of the Philly special. He threw the pass to Nick Foles. He had a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, But yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. I know it's not big news to many, but it's big news to me. All right, news 3. Amari Cooper. This is a little old, but I want to talk about it real quick. Amari Cooper signs a 5-year deal worth $100 million. He signed back with the Dallas Cowboys, and this was a great decision. Unfortunately, he's going to be stuck with Dak Prescott most likely. Maybe not. Amari Cooper, I think he's between a really good wide receiver. He's like a really good wide receiver, and he's also an elite receiver. It depends, but either way, he's really good. Yeah, he's really good receiver. Amari Cooper, depends. Sometimes he can be really elite. Sometimes he can be really good. Sometimes he could just be pretty good. Either way, Amari Cooper reminds me a lot of Michael Gallup. I feel like him re-signing was a good decision. Hopefully, he has a better quarterback moving forward. And unfortunately, that's bad for my Eagles cornerbacks. But it's all right. Pay the price. Yeah, Amari Cooper signs a 5-year deal. I think that was a good decision by Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I know some Dallas Cowboys fans don't like him for some odd reason. I would have liked him to go to the Eagles, but unfortunately, the Cowboys snagged him back, and that's all right. I mean, he has a steady future ahead of him. He's going to have a good career with the Dallas Cowboys, and yeah, perfect decision. Everything went well there. Fortunately, he's not going to have a great quarterback. And yeah, Amari Cooper with the Dallas Cowboys for another 5 years. Another old news, but interesting news. Calais Campbell, he's with the Ravens now. He was with the Jaguars. Now he's with the Ravens. I'm going to tell you this now. The Ravens defensive line will be the best defensive line next year. You got a guy like Derek Wolfe. He's on there. I mean, Derek Wolfe came off of a 7-sack season. Calais Campbell, he got some tough. He has a lot of motor left in him. He has quite a few years left in his system. They got another great defensive line, another great defensive lineman there. They could also draft a defense. I think they're really building up their defensive line, and I feel like next year the Ravens' defensive line is going to be scary. I'm going to feel bad for any quarterback that has to go up against their defensive line. Whew, let me tell you. Yeah, I mean, Calais Campbell going to the Baltimore Ravens. First off, luckily he's out of Jacksonville. They're done wasting his talents. And yeah, I mean, Calais Campbell, it was a good decision by the Ravens. They got him out of there. He's not going back to that franchise. And I'm a big Jaguars fan. I'm a really big Jaguars fan once again, but I'm glad he's not going back there because he's getting old and he needs a Super Bowl. He deserves a Super Bowl, and I feel like he could get one with the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens, in time, they're going to win a Super Bowl eventually. I mean, they got a great defense. They have a great running back with Mark Ingram. Yeah, I mean, I could see them going to the Super Bowl soon, very soon, actually. Ravens, they're going to be one tough team to beat. I'm going to tell you that now. Their defensive line is going to be elite. They're going to be as good as the 49ers was, last year. The 49ers defensive line will not be as great as last year. They already had the forced bunker out of there. And, yeah, I mean, the Ravens defensive line is going to be scary as hell next year. And I'm going to feel bad for any team that goes up against that defensive line, let me tell you. All right. That's what I got to say about Calais Campbell. Okay, at the end of Wednesday's segment, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to record on Wednesday due to technical issues and software issues and stuff, and there was a lot of personal stuff going on. At the end of Wednesday's segment, we have at the end of Wednesday's podcast, we have a segment called Breaking Ranking. So today, we're gonna get started with the end of Wednesday segment called Breaking Ranking. Alright, in this episode of Breaking Ranking, we have the 10 QBs who are the most underrated and could start in the NFL. Like, could start for a whole entire season and be great. These quarterbacks are not really thought of being a quarterback, like potential starters. People just discredit them. People forget about them. These quarterbacks are extremely underrated, and that means like guys like Case Keenum is not going to make it to the list. I've thought about putting Case Keenum in. He would definitely have been in the top 10 quarterbacks that could start in the NFL, but I'm just not sure. I think he's a little bit too popular. I know a lot of people that want Case Keenum to be starting in NFL and NFL on the NFL teams and stuff, and he started for a whole season for the Redskins last year. And yeah, so those are going to be 10 quarterbacks, underrated quarterbacks, and quarterbacks that could start in the NFL for a whole season and probably multiple years, or possibly be a franchise quarterback star, you know what I mean? So, coming in at number 10, we have Nate Sudfeld. Currently, right now, Nate Sudfeld, number 7 on the Eagles. He is the second string. He's the current backup to Carson Wentz. Now, I know the Eagles kind of, I don't know, they seem a little weary about having Nate Sudfeld as their backup, which is odd because he's a pretty good backup. He's, I would say, top 10 backup quarterbacks. He's really solid. I feel like he could start a whole entire season. I'm not sure if he can be a franchise quarterback. He has the arm. He definitely has the arm for it. He's a lot like Nick Foles, but I'm not really sure. I mean, there's just not enough evidence of him being a franchise quarterback, but I feel like he could be a developmental quarterback, though. I feel like he could be a good developmental quarterback. He's kind of a mix of Nick Foles and Josh McCown, Nate Sudfeld. And he could be like a Josh McCown type of quarterback in the future, like a journey back type of quarterback, journeyman. Nate Sudfeld, me personally, I think he has the potential to be a franchise quarterback, but he can definitely start a whole season. I tell you that. He can start a whole season. He's not going to throw like 6 picks in one game like Nathan Peterman. So, Nathan Peterman, the epic meme. He's definitely not going to throw like 6 picks in one game like Nathan Peterman. And yeah, I feel like Nate Sudfeld could start in the whole game, and he's extremely underrated, especially as a backup quarterback and as a quarterback in general, as a player. And yeah, Nate Sudfeld coming in at number 10. Not sure if he could be a franchise quarterback, but he could definitely start a whole entire season, say, for your starting quarterback being injured. Coming in at number 9, we have Colt McCoy. Now, last year there was a big quarterback battle, in my opinion, between Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum, and Colt McCoy, and I thought it was down to Colt McCoy and Case Keenum. I felt like it was like neck and neck in my opinion, because I feel like Colt McCoy could be like, I feel like he could start quite a few games. I feel like he could be solid, but unfortunately he was with the Redskins that were just falling apart in the end of the year, and and he went up against the Patriots too, and I felt like he played pretty good against the Patriots. Let me tell you, Colt McCoy, when he played against the Patriots, he threw that 1 pick, no touchdowns. But it's not all about the stats, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of circumstances going on. But Colt McCoy, he's a good mentor quarterback for a backup, and I feel like he has like another 3 years left, and I feel like he could start a whole season, quite a few years actually. I feel like the Redskins could have him be starting for like like the next 2 years. If he was still on the Redskins, I felt like he could have. I felt like it was neck and neck with Case Keenum. I feel like they're basically like the same type of quarterback in a way. Not the same type of quarterback, but I mean, I feel like they would have both gotten the job done the exact same, if you know what I mean. I like Colt McCoy. I feel like he was extremely underrated. I know a lot of people discredit him in the quarterback battle last year, and I felt like it was neck and neck between Case Keenum and Colt McCoy. And yeah, that's all. That's my thoughts on Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy coming in at number 9. Number 8, we have the quarterback Jeff Driscoll. Not many probably don't even know who that is. Jeff Driscoll, I believe he was an undrafted free agent. He started out on the 49ers for I think a little bit, and then he moved to the Bengals. Now Jeff Driscoll, I feel like would have been a perfect option to replace Andy Dalton. He has a speed, he has a pretty decent arm, and he's pretty accurate. When he was with the Lions, he was like in a last-minute situation. When Matthew Stafford got out, he replaced him for quite a bit. I feel like Jeff Driscoll, he made quite a few mistakes. Not gonna lie, he made quite a few mistakes, but his receivers were running the wrong routes during some of his games, and he ended up with a meh, just a meh. You know what I mean? Ended up with a meh year that year. But if I'm being honest, I feel like Jeff Driscoll should have been the future starter quarterback of the Bengals. He has the potential to be the future starting quarterback of a franchise, but I'm not sure about his injuries. That's why he's at number 8. That's why he's at number 8, because I feel like now he might be a little bit injury prone, but I'm not really sure. We gotta see him next year. Right now he's with the Broncos, which is a pretty good destination. He's definitely a solid backup. I would love to have him as my backup. But yeah, number 8, Jeff Driscoll has the potential to be a starting franchise quarterback for a franchise, but we're not sure about his injury situation. But for right now, he's at number 8, and he's a solid backup. Coming in at number 7, you probably all know him. I think this one a lot of people know, but last year he was barely talked about, and I'm going to talk about him because I like him. Nick Mullins coming in at number 7. Now, if you don't know, back in 2018, Jimmy Garoppolo got injured week 2, and he got replaced by a guy by C.J. Beathard. And C.J. Beathard is okay. He's a solid backup. And then they picked up a guy named Nick Mullins. And Nick Mullins came onto the scene, I believe it was like week 11. And he came in against the Seahawks and threw 3 touchdowns. Amazing. Now, next week, he kind of downgraded. But he was solid the whole entire season when he was out for Jimmy Garoppolo. Nick Mullins is what you want as a backup quarterback. I'm telling you that right now. What you want as a backup quarterback is Nick Mullins. All right? And Nick Mullins was incredible. He was really solid. I felt like, me personally, he was clutch. But the problem with Nick Mullins is he doesn't have a strong arm. He has kind of a weak arm. He really tries to sling the ball out, and he uses all his effort just to throw like 30 yards. You know what I mean? He's extremely accurate. Unfortunately, he wasn't gifted a stronger arm. But I feel like he could be a starting quarterback, even though he has a weak arm, for quite a few reasons. One, I feel like he could do the Gardner Minshew route, really work on his hips. He needs to turn his hips more, work on his quarterback mechanics, and I feel like he could be a future starting quarterback in the NFL. His accuracy is incredible. Unfortunately, his arm isn't strong enough and ends up being inaccurate for those cases. But if you look at the film, it's just he has really good accuracy. He seems like he's a really nice guy, really good leader. I just wish he was gifted a little bit more of a stronger arm, but I feel like if he really worked on it, really worked on his quarterback mechanics, he could have a better stance, stronger arm, and yeah, I feel like he could be a starting quarterback, future quarterback for a franchise. Now, me personally, okay, this one's could be a little bit controversial, but I'm gonna put it out there. I feel like he fits perfectly with the Rams' system, offensive system. I feel like he could fit perfectly with their scheme. I feel like he fits the mold a lot better than Jared Goff, and I'm a fan. I'm not like a humongous fan of Jared Goff, but I feel like he can get the job done. He has a great arm. accuracy issues, but it's okay. He made it to the Super Bowl. That puts it down for me. I mean, made it to the Super Bowl. Bad quarterbacks most of the time don't make it to the Super Bowl, but I mean, yeah. Nick Mullins, I feel like he would be perfect to be in the Rams offensive scheme. I think he fits their mold perfectly, especially Sean McVay. I feel like he could fix his quarterback mechanics. And yeah, I feel like Nick Mullins could go, and this is not going to happen, obviously, but I feel like he fits perfectly with the Rams offensive scheme. Other than that, I don't know where else he could really go to be franchise quarterback, a future for a franchise quarterback. He's very underrated. I'm not very underrated. I know a lot of people know him, but people don't think of him as a starting quarterback. Me personally, I feel like he could be a starting quarterback. So that's why I have him number 7. Number 6, he's not underrated, but a lot of people forgot about this man. The man who broke his legs quite a few times. You all know him, RG3. Now, what do I have to say about RG3? The Redskins ruined him. People are calling him a bust. The Redskins, unfortunately, ruined a great player. Luckily, he recovered. I feel like by now, I think he could start for a team. I feel like he could be a starter for like the next 5 years for a team. Fortunately, the Redskins ruined him, ruined his future in a franchise. I feel like he could have been one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now if the Redskins never drafted him. People are calling him a bust. He's not a bust because I don't think he was that bad. He wasn't that horrible. My definition of a bust, in my opinion, is if you were just flat out horrible, flat out disappointing, flat out just horrible, not great. Unfortunately, RG3 got ruined by the Redskins. Ruined him, ruined his potential. He could have been amazing. He could have done great things. I feel like right now we would be talking about him in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL if he never joined the Redskins. And then you can say that about a bunch of quarterbacks, but I'm saying that about RG3. They did not handle his injury right. They didn't handle him right at all. Not at all. Let me tell you. RG3 could have been... He's such a great leader, too. Such a great guy. Really mentoring Lamar Jackson, and such a shame. And he does deserve to start. He really deserves to start. He could command that locker room. I can see it even backing up Lamar Jackson. He could really command that locker room. His Week 17 performance was kind of meh, but I mean it was kind of rusty, you know. I feel like he got his injury issues under control. I know he had a bad stint with the Browns, but come on, it's the Browns. It's the Browns. Give that one a pass, please. But yeah, I mean RG3 still has the potential. He still has the potential to start. I mean, he could start for another 5. I feel like a team probably they don't even just think of him as a backup, possibly even being a third string. But I feel like RG3 could start for a franchise for 5 years. If I was a new team, I would sign him for 5 years. I feel like he could have went to the XFL too, but I can see why he backed up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to mentor him. You know what I mean? So RG3 coming in at number 6. Great guy. He still could be a starting quarterback for a franchise, and he's still young enough. He's not extremely young where he could be a franchise quarterback forever, but I mean he could still. I feel like he could have a 5-year deal with the team. Okay, coming in at number 5. I've talked about this man many times. And number 5, we have Jarrett Stidham. All right, I've talked about him quite a few times on my channel, in the Breaking Sports podcast. I probably overrate this man too much, but I can't help it. This guy got a great arm. People are just thinking he's just they're just going to draft the quarterback. I hope not. I really hope the Patriots stick with Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham is the answer to the Patriots. I mean, I don't want to be rooting for the Patriots, but I mean, it just fits perfectly. It really does. Jarrett Stidham, I hope you're the starter. I really do. If not with the Patriots, with a franchise, you have the potential to be really good in the NFL, have a long career, a really, really good career. So, Jarrett Stidham, hopefully the Patriots pick you as their starting quarterback, franchise quarterback of the future. I believe they will, if they're smart enough. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. And you're probably wondering, like, I overrate this guy so much, but he's only number 5. These guys are just 10 times better. And these next 4 guys I'm gonna mention have to be starting quarterbacks in the NFL at some point. They are meant to start at some point in their career. They are meant to lead a franchise. These 4 guys could lead your franchise to the Super Bowl. If I was a general manager, I would want one of these 4 guys I'm about to mention on my team to be the starting quarterback of the future. Okay, coming in number 4. Guys, I've talked about him earlier in this podcast video. I believe I did. We have the 3rd string quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, Trace McSorley. I don't know why I can never say his last name even when I was watching his Penn State games. Trace McSorley. What a guy. I mean, sorry about that. What a guy. What can I say? I mean, I know a lot of people don't know who he is. You've probably seen him in the preseason games. I think he was a punt returner a couple times in the NFL season too. They stuck him in, but a lot of teams want him to become like a wide receiver. God no, please don't. Trace McSorley, don't bait into what the NFL wants. You are a great quarterback. You have really good accuracy. You have a couple quarterback issues that you could fix, but it's fixable. You have really fixable quarterback issues that, I mean, man, you're a good leader. You have good speed. Like, you have everything you need in a good quarterback. Your arm is pretty decent. His arm is pretty decent. Trace McSorley's arm is pretty decent. But I'm telling you, this guy, you better watch out. I really hope he starts in the NFL someday. I mean, me personally, I think he'd be a perfect bridge quarterback. You go from Nick Foles and right to Trace McSorley, because I feel like it's a perfect, right when Nick Foles is done, you put this guy in. I mean, this guy's young enough. He's only 24 years old. I mean, he has a decent arm, decent speed. He has good accuracy. Could get better, but I mean, it's progress. You know what I mean? This guy reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson in a way. Russell Wilson and a little bit of Lamar Jackson. I mean, I don't want to compare him to anybody because I feel like he could be his own quarterback. People are going to be like, I want to be like Trace McSorley. That's how good this guy could be. Please, an NFL team, give a chance on him to start. It probably won't, because the NFL is like always about their first round picks, always about their top free agency. Never about the underdog. Well, they are. I mean, there are a lot of underdog players on Tony Romo, Kurt Warner, but I feel like this guy could be one of the best undrafted free agent quarterbacks of all time. He is undrafted, so that means he's not going to get as much attention. I really hope he gets a chance to start in the NFL one day. He has the ability to be a future starting quarterback for an NFL franchise. I have a really gut feeling that one day he will be able to pick up the mantle of a starting quarterback role. And that's what I have to say about Trace McSorley. So Trace McSorley was at number 4. Coming in at number 3, I also talked about this man earlier, Tyree Jackson. Incredible arm, a little bit of accuracy issues, but all fixable. He was in the XFL. He's only started in 1 week of a game. I liked him coming out of college. I think he was a 6th round pick. He was with the Bills. Was he a 6th round pick? I believe so. I believe he was a 6th round pick. Or he was undrafted. Tyree Jackson. has the potential. If you really worked with Tyree Jackson, really worked on his quarterback mechanics, this man will be a dangerous quarterback in the NFL. Let me tell you. I mean, his arm is killer. He's tall enough to see over the offensive line. I mean, he can see over the defensive line and offensive line. He's pretty tall. I think one of the tallest quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's 6'7" or 6'8". He's pretty tall. He has good speed. He reminds me of a better version of Josh Allen. He could be a better version of Josh Allen. This guy could bring you to the Super Bowl if you fix his quarterback mechanics. I feel like he has the attitude of an NFL starter too. I mean, I believe in Tyree Jackson coming out of college. I believe in him now, and hopefully an NFL team will give him a chance. Yeah, and crap. After I'm done this list, I just realized I forgot to talk about something big news that happened. So after I'm done this list, I'm going to talk about the XFL going bankrupt. I just realized that. I don't know why I just thought of that now. I just got the news for it too. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. Coming at number 2, we have. Oh, sorry. Starting over. Tyree Jackson. Unfortunately, the XFL is over. So Tyree Jackson, hopefully he starts in the NFL one day. Coming in at number 2, we have Philip Walker. Now, I know this guy is not underrated because he started in the XFL and he would have won MVP of the XFL. But a lot of people are discrediting him already. Like, when he got picked up by the Panthers, people were just bashing him right away because he was part of the XFL. Dude, some of the players in the XFL are better than some of the starters in the NFL. The starters in the XFL were better than some of the starters in the NFL. Flat out saying it. Philip Walker better than Mitchell Trubisky. Oh my gosh. Philip Walker was amazing in the XFL. He could be an amazing quarterback in the NFL. He did have a couple of issues with interceptions. I feel like there was a lot of interceptions that were dropped. But I mean, this guy could fix his problems and be a top tier quarterback. Could be elite. Phil Walker could be elite quarterback in the NFL. He's underrated because a lot of people are already discrediting him. They don't think he has a chance to beat out Teddy Bridgewater. And I love Teddy Bridgewater so much. Such a great quarterback. I wish the Saints kept him, but they didn't. And that's that. But and unfortunately, the XFL is over. I found that out just now. I'm gonna talk about that after we do breaking ranking. So yeah, Philip Walker at number 2, great quarterback, has a chance to start in the NFL one day, and maybe he'll start with the Carolina Panthers. We never know. Okay, coming at number 1, Kyle Allen. I've talked about him so many times. People are probably annoyed about how much I talk about him, and a lot of people know who he is. I understand that, but people do not think he can start in the NFL, and I'm gonna flat out say it right now. He is meant to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, he started 1 year. He has so much potential to improve. He can improve so much, and I hope teams don't. The NFL doesn't give up on him already. I mean, Kyle Allen has a great arm. He has a little bit of accuracy issues, but can be fixable. I feel like what I saw from him was so impressive for a first year and a guy that was just stuck into a really crazy situation. Seems like a really chill dude. I'm a big fan of Kyle Allen. Hopefully, NFL teams are smart and they will have him as a starter. But this man deserves to be a starter, and I'm saying it right now. He should be a starter next year. He really should. I mean, I know he threw a lot of interceptions, but just give him a chance. he'll impress you so much. I mean, I just don't know why people were giving up on him so already. He just made a couple bad mistakes. His confidence was really low last year for some reason. He had the coach change and just a bunch of crap happened. He went through so much adversity, Kyle Allen, last year. He's meant to be a starter, and he's the most underrated quarterback coming into the NFL next year, and he should be a starter. He's a starting franchise quarterback, and hopefully he's with the Redskins, and that would be unfortunate because that's a rival team to the Eagles. All right. Before we get to the what if, I just found this out now, and this wasn't in my script. So this is going to be my raw reaction, not scripted at all. So I'm going to probably be I'm just kind of shocked. By the way, that was the end of Breaking Ranking. I'm sorry that I didn't do it on Wednesday. Hopefully you enjoyed it, being it out on Friday or maybe Saturday if this has trouble uploading. But anyway, I just found out the XFL has filed for bankruptcy, which means they're probably not coming back next year. I mean, there's still a chance. This sucks so bad. I love the XFL. You don't even understand. I mean, I felt like with the XFL, I probably filed for bankruptcy. I'm just guessing because they had good ratings. They had good. I remember looking at the ratings just to make sure they don't get canceled. They had good ratings every week. The audience seemed like all the people in the stands seemed like they liked it. This sucks so bad. I just found this out. I'm so shocked. I'm speechless. I mean, I think they filed for bankruptcy because not enough people showed up to their games due to the coronavirus happening, and they had a lot of money that they couldn't pay back due to the coronavirus, and it sucks. Why? I'm so upset. I am so upset right now. I know a lot of people don't care about the XFL. I felt like with the XFL, the football keeps living on. You know, football will never die. I'm not saying it'll never die. That sounds weird. What am I saying? I mean, you know what I mean? Because when the NFL season is over, there's no more football. You just hear the free agency rumors and the free agency transactions. I was excited to talk about the XFL. By the time I started doing the podcast, the XFL ended due to the coronavirus. And now it seems like they're not coming back. And now I have nothing to review games-wise during when the NFL season is over. I can still talk about the NBA, I guess. But I'm more passionate about football than basketball and all the other sports. But I'm still a big fan of I'm still a fan of other sports. But my main passion on this channel is football. I'm just very disappointed. Maybe they'll come back. I don't know. I was having a conversation with a friend. Said there's still a chance for them to come back. My dad says they could possibly still come back. Who really knows? But they filed for bankruptcy, which means they're most likely not going to be coming back next year. So XFL fans, this sucks. This really sucks. This sucks so bad. I'm very disappointed. That kind of ruined my night a little bit. I mean, I was very excited to see the XFL next year, you know. I really had a good time watching the XFL. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was a good thing to watch when the NFL wasn't around. It was less stressful in a way, but it's still stressful at the same time because you always get stressful when you watch a sports game. But this is my honest, true reaction right now. Very disappointed. I'm very saddened. Maybe they'll come back. I said that so many times. I'm just hoping. It's false hope. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish out today's episode with the final segment. Sorry, I just wanted to say my brief thoughts on that. And for the final segment of today's What If on Friday's podcast. On the end of Friday's podcast on Breaking Sports, we have a segment called What If. So let's get started with Friday's segment, What If? Okay, today's What If. What if Deshaun Watson went to the Bears? What if the Bears were actually smart and actually had a brain and weren't dumb about their decisions and actually drafted Deshaun Watson instead of Mitchell Trubisky? Because I will never, ever understand that. That there goes the migraines. Oh man, no. That I could go on like an hour, 3-hour rant about how stupid that was. Why would you draft Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes too? Just thinking about that gives me migraines. I will never understand that, but we have to move on from that. But what if they actually had a brain and drafted Deshaun Watson? Well, they probably would have made it to the Super Bowl in 2018, and they probably would have made it to the playoffs in 2019. I mean, Deshaun Watson is an incredible talent. I feel like the next new rivalry is kind of like they were saying, like it's like Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. It's a good rivalry. Mitchell Trubisky is not even in the conversation, of course. I feel like Deshaun Watson would have been he would have been a perfect fit for Chicago. And they would have won a Super Bowl in 2018. They would have beaten my Eagles. They would have beaten the Saints because their defense was hella good in 2018. 2019 they kind of downgraded a bit, but their defense was still pretty good. And fortunately, the quarterback play was just not good enough at all. Wasn't good enough at all. But they would have won the Super Bowl in 2018. They would have beaten my Eagles in the wild card round. Actually, they probably would have been in the second seed. I mean, in 2018, they probably would have beaten. They would probably be beating the Cowboys in the divisional round, and then they would have beaten the Saints in the NFC conference championship, and then they would have made it to the Super Bowl up against the Patriots, and they would have beaten the Patriots. I mean, that dude, if they had Deshaun Watson, that they would be a monster in the NFL. Every team would be afraid of them if they had Deshaun Watson, but they didn't. They had a poor excuse of a quarterback named Mitchell Trubisky. All right, that's all the time we have in today's episode. This is I think this might be the longest episode of Breaking Sports yet, and it's episode 5. So, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. One more thing before we end this episode. For now on, if I know that these episodes are really long, and for now on, if you don't like watching like the whole entire podcast, I'm gonna start breaking this down into little clips. So, like I'm gonna break down not break down, but I mean like separate it. So I'm gonna have the whole podcast on YouTube, and then you can watch the different clips that go along with it. Like if you don't like a certain topic, there's like this topic. You know what I mean? Like for example, if you don't want to hear about the Cam Newton should not be a starter topic, then you can hear about the Drew Lock video topic. You know what I mean? So each topic, each segment is going to be broken down to a own separate video. So you're gonna have you're gonna have the whole entire podcast episode, and then you're gonna have those episodes separated. So that's what we're gonna do for now on. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. That's all the time we have. It was a really long time that we had. I hope you're all safe. Hope you're all still healthy during this coronavirus time. It's been stressful for me, and I'm sure it's been stressful for you. So stay safe, be healthy. I'll see you on the next one.